Hello, and welcome to another episode of Open Book Besties. I'm Misty Walker,
And I'm Kay Webster.
and we are coming back after a very long break.
For 4 months. I looked and I think our last episode was in August. And I was
Was
like,
it really
oh,
4 months?
yeah,
It's
4 months.
insane.
I know. Time flies.
Yeah, especially the last 4 months, because I seriously feel like it was maybe a month.
I know. No, it was a long time ago. And the only reason I know is I was getting ready to do a newsletter and I was setting it up about this episode and I was like getting it all ready. And I went to look at our link to pull it over there so that they could click on it. And the last one said August, and I was like, oh.
That's crazy. That is wild.
I know.
But we had a lot going on.
Yeah, we were both really busy. So busy that we barely even kept in touch. I mean,
I
the
know.
bare minimum for us, like some days it was just like, hey, are you alive?
Yeah, and even some days I'd be like, I didn't even talk to Christy today. Like, this
Oh,
is so weird.
right. And I don't know what you were up to, but I was in the middle of trying to do too many things. First of all, I don't know why I thought I would just cram all of this stuff in the end of the year, but I tried to update my website with a new like design, change all of the people from Patreon to my website. So I had to build up like this whole membership thing and not just do it for readers, but also add an author element to it. And then on top of that, I decided I was also going to do this really huge sale. And on top of that, I decided I would do this limited edition of one of my books that's pretty popular of mine. And it was like a big deal for my site. And then I was also going to create a course and launch a course and teach a course all within this 4 months while we were on our break.
Yeah.
And I was just like, December 1st hit, and I was like, bye-bye. We are starting over. We are starting quiet and relaxed and none of this. So I don't know what you were doing during that time. Writing?
I
Visiting?
was traveling. I feel like the whole month of November, I just wasn't even home.
Mm-hmm.
I went to that conference in Vegas, which if I could get that week of my life back, I would be so happy, because it's not that the conference was bad. I feel like it was kind of more geared toward newer authors. There wasn't a whole lot of, but I will say this, I also wasn't a very willing participant because I had just gotten over COVID, and because I have so many chronic illnesses, it any kind of change in my body just sets that off. And so I was sick. I got the flu right after COVID. Like, I was a hot mess. So I do not blame the conference. Also, Vegas is a shithole. That is the only way to describe it. When my husband and I keep talking about this, because it just keeps going through my head. When him and I were younger, like in our 20s, that was our spot. Like, we lived very close to there, like an hour and a half away. So when we wanted to like get away for the weekend, we went to Vegas, and it was like the cheap place to go. There, tons of entertainment. You could pop a 20 in a slot machine and spend an hour there, and they gave you free drinks. So before we went and did anything fun, we just sit there and drink our little lives away.
Yeah.
And now they nickel and dime you for every single thing. I got a coffee and a pastry every morning, and it was like $30.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not joking. They don't have room service anymore. And I've been to Vegas twice, two different properties, within, a month of each other. And both places were the same way. Like, you have to order from a restaurant on their property. And one night I had just like a chicken sandwich. I think it was my first night that I got there. And it was like $65
Oh my gosh.
to get it sent to my
That is
room.
ridiculous.
I am not a cheap person, but it wasn't worth $65.
Right. Yeah.
So Anyway, I am very bitter about Vegas. I don't ever want to go there again. Although, if by chance I get invited to Love in Vegas, I would go because I went to that signing and it was so much fun. And there were so many amazing authors that I've been friends with for years, and I got to meet them, and it was amazing. So,
Well, maybe this
yeah, I
time
was
you could
doing that.
take Ty with you and make him your errand boy, and he can go run and buy you all the food.
No, he won't though. He won't. He wouldn't do that. He would
Okay.
disappear is what he would do. He would get in his car and like drive out into the desert and try and find aliens or
Oh,
something. Like he's not sticking around to help me.
never mind then. Mine
Maybe
would
my
be up in the
mom.
room napping.
Yeah. And then I had 2 releases back to back, like in a month of each other. I released Bad for a Weekend and Gracie's Mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then by December, I was like you, I was just done. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, no more.
Mm-hmm.
I need a month, right? So I basically took the whole month of December off, to be honest with you.
See, and I was still like, the month of December was when I had my course, and every week there was a new training, and I was having to send email reminders and like get into these groups. And all in the middle of all of this, my website was a clusterfuck, an absolute clusterfuck. And I had Nicole trying to help me, and I had, this other guy that's friends with us trying to help, and my sister was trying to help, and everything was lagging, everything was slow. People were like, it's slow, it's breaking, I can't do all this, blah, 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 blah. And it was a nightmare, like a stressful nightmare. And finally, we finally hired this place that you can put in little work tickets, and they'll go in there and work on stuff. And at first I was getting frustrated because I
Is it
didn't
like design or just like
know,
the
like,
backbone of it?
yeah, like all of the mechanics of it.
Nice.
And because I could ask Nicole and stuff, but she's got her whole life. This is not
Yeah,
her
she's
job.
got
Like,
her,
she can
right.
design a website, but she's not really going to sit there and maintain my stuff like it needs to be. And my site has a lot going on, so it needs a lot of maintenance. And so we hired this place, and they're pretty expensive. My husband found them and got it all set up, and we had to have like a discovery call with this dude, and it was just, whatever. But anyway, so we got them signed up, and then it took for I don't know, like a week of them not really doing anything. And I was starting to get upset, and I was like, you know what, website doesn't work. And I went off on these people, and I didn't really go off, but I said, I'm paying you guys and nothing has happened, and I'm still having major issues. And I did it all in caps, because I was like freaking out. And I'm telling you what, like 3 seconds later, I get an email, we're on it. And ever since then, they've been I don't know if they just were slow after the holidays or what, but, and
Maybe
then,
they're just waiting to see what kind of client you were going to be.
right, or maybe they were waiting for more direction, because they have these like work requests that you're supposed to submit, but it's kind
Yeah,
of hard to submit when you don't really know what you want. Or I'm just
right,
like, fix it, just fix it, it's
right.
slow. And they're like, but where's it slow, what's it do, all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. Well, finally, again, I had to let my sister take over, and I said, I'm going to add you to this account, and can you please communicate with these people, because I don't know what to say to them, and you're the one that's in and out of the website on the back end a lot. And she was like, oh yeah, let me talk to him. Because she is like the queen of follow through. Like, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do? And so now she has been talking to him, and things are getting fixed, and she stays on them. And I'm like, thank God.
God bless her type A
I
personality.
know. I know. And she was like shaming me. She was like, Christy, I read through your messages to those people, and she said, your stuff doesn't even make sense. And I was like, I know. I didn't even know what I was saying. She's like, and every one of your little things said LOL at the end. And will you fix my website? LOL. I don't know what's happening. LOL. She was like, don't message them anymore. I'm doing it.
That's awesome.
I know. So it was a nightmare. But I think that kind of brings us to a question I wanted to talk about, or something, a discussion. And that was, and I feel like a lot of our listeners, authors, readers, whoever they may be, Misty's dad, no. But whoever they are, they are in the same spot of, what did you do last year that sucked? and you don't want to repeat for this year. And kind of like talk about that whole pivoting process about when things don't go as planned, do you, stay with it and, keep going, or do you just cut it off and start on something else? So anyway, I'm sure you have things that you wish that you didn't do last year, or um and then things that worked out that you think that was great, I want to do more of that, or I want to expand on that.
Hell yeah, I have things that I wish I didn't do yesterday. So
Oh,
you combine a whole year and we could just keep this going forever.
right. Well, I mean, okay, for me personally, one of the things that I did, and this is kind of my personality, me because you've known me since forever, and this is how I am. It's like all or nothing. And when I get something in my head, I add like 17 things along with it, and then I put it in this little package, and I'm like, we're going to do it all by XYZ date. And I don't know if it's the older I get, or just, I've kind of been burned out the past few years. And so I'm not eager to work like I used to. Like, I can't keep up that pace. And so
Yeah.
my brain is like, yeah, totally, we can do this. Let's do it all. And then when it comes down to actually executing it, I I can't execute it. I just don't have the stamina. I don't have the attention span. Um, and I don't want anything to suffer. And so, I'm also like a perfectionist too. So it's kind of like it's like I torture myself. Like I put myself through this horrible torture because I don't want to do it, but then I force myself to do it because it's got to be done. It's got to be done great, And so it's just this constant thing. So after this past quarter, I really thought to myself, I can't do that anymore, and I can't put those kinds of constraints on me any longer, or I'm just going to die. I mean, that's so
Yeah.
dramatic, but I feel like it, because it was just
Yeah.
so hard. One of the things that I did do is, everybody always teases me that I hired my grocery shopper. But my grocery shopper, Bridget, we met because she delivers my groceries. She's like my shopper, and we became friends. And she has an assistant business, and she was like, I'm starting out this business, would you be interested? I can basically help assist. And I was like, well, I got Holly, she does like a lot of my day-to-day things, and you shop for me. I said, but I looked at everything that she had to offer on the business side, and I was like, actually, I think there's something you can do. And so she came and sat down with me, and we realized that she is really good at project management. And I had a lot of projects to manage.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't have Bridget telling me what I had to do every single day for those 3 months, 4 months, it wouldn't have happened. It just wouldn't.
Yeah.
And she was basically like, okay, what do you want to do? And I, you know, verbally tell her all the things, which was a lot of things. And she'd take all her little notes, and then she'd type over there on her little computer. And then she'd be like, okay, so number one, when are you doing this one? And I was like, oh, I'll just do that today. She's like, okay, fine. And then what about the next one? Yeah, I'll do that after that. And she's like, okay. And then she's like, what about this? And I'm like, well, I can't do it tomorrow because I got to do whatever. I guess I'll do that maybe tonight. And she's like, and then she really started like forcing me to put down all of these ideas into an actual time slot,
Yeah.
to realize that I don't have time to do all of this, or I would just be working forever and doing nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very eye-opening for me because I'm very like, yeah, I can do it. It's fine. Let me just sign up for it. Let me do it. It's fine. I can handle it. And she was just like, no, you can't. And she would stop me a few times, and she said she said, I could tell when you were starting to get almost manic. She said, because you'd start twirling your hair and tell me all these things that you're going to do. And she's like, and your eyes are like glazed over. And I was like, oh. And she's like, I could tell. She said it was like, and one of those times she just said, stop. And I was like, what? She said, we're not going to talk about all of that. Let's get back to this and how you're going to finish this one thing. And I was like, well, so she's like, got it. I know she has like enough sweet firmness that she keeps me on track. And a lot of things, she'd say, well, obviously you can't finish that before the end of the year, because I'd be like, let's do it before the end of the year. And it was like everything. And she's like, let's talk about first quarter next year. And I'm like, okay, fine. So we shoved some things over into first quarter next year. But funny thing is when I finished this past year, she said, what do you think about those things that you wanted to do in first quarter? And I was like, no, we're not doing those no more, and I had like all these grand, huge ideas. And she was like, okay, good. That's what I thought. And I was like, so she like could see like my personality and could really like, help me with that. And obviously I know not everybody can, hire somebody to do this for them, but my business has reached a place where I can, once or twice a month, hire her to come over to my house and help me hash this out. And I have so many like, things going on that I do need somebody to help me figure out each thing and what needs to go on. And so that was something that I was very happy to have this year, or this past year. And I'm going to continue for this year. And because it was very eye-opening, and helpful. So I don't really know. I feel like everybody should definitely not just take on everything without actually trying to put it in their calendar, and really think about reasonably scheduling this time. And, you know this about me too, like something that sounds fun right in this 1 second, 3 months from now isn't going to be fun, like anthologies, and I know you kind of have gotten tripped up in some of that yourself. So it's definitely, you need to think on things. Don't just agree to everything,
Right.
so
And it's hard when people are asking you,
right,
when they're like in front of you asking you, and you're just like, yeah, of course.
right.
Then, you actually have to do it. And it's like,
Right.
oh, why did I agree?
And you do that too many times and you have like 12 things all of a sudden just sitting there ready for you to do them. You're like, how am I going to do this? It's hard. And it's also hard not to, have that shiny object syndrome where you get this idea for your business or, whatever. And you just think, okay, I'm going to do all of this. And, and you really don't need to focus on that. Like, like I haven't been on social media in about 4 months. I've been busy. And I have noticed that I don't see that as much, like what everybody else is doing. And that was one of the hard things about social media is you see what everybody else is doing and then you go, well, why am I not doing that too? Why am I not, running ads like this? Or why am I not, whatever it is? And then you start, making TikTok 7 times a day or whatever. And then you start to think, how am I going to do all this? And it's overwhelming and you really can't devote your time to any of it. You really have to select one thing in these certain little areas and really just focus on that one thing instead of trying to do everything. It's hard. That was a long tangent of me whining.
So I am trying out this year, not setting deadlines.
Yay.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a yay, because in my head, when I was thinking about it, because here's what I'll do. I'm a master procrastinator and I can justify literally anything. I just can. And so I would always wait until, deadlines are looming, and then I would just cram it all in, which is fine, but it stressed me out and it made me completely unavailable to my family for, a week or two. And I didn't want to do that anymore. So I decided, like, this year, I'm not going to set any deadlines. I will schedule a pre-order once I have a book done.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's going to work though, because again, I can justify anything and I can procrastinate
Mhm.
with the best of them. So I don't know. We're gonna see. I know that I don't want things to be like last year because I felt way too stressed out all the time, all the time. So, and I would like to find some help this year. because currently, I have a virtual PA that can, post my Facebook things every day,
Mhm.
but that still leaves me with a lot of the social media responsibilities, and it also leaves me with everything else.
Mhm.
And honestly, like, I have been selling so much from my website, which I know you do too, um, that I feel like I need someone here, locally to come in and help me sometimes.
Mhm.
Like you said, just a couple times a month, it would be amazing,
Mhm.
because I just had a video do really well on TikTok, and I had like 200. I woke up and had like 200 paperbacks that I had to package by myself. And I cannot do that. It killed me. It, like, literally, I spent the next day after finishing
Mhm.
in bed. I was so done.
Mhm.
And it takes me away from being able to write.
Right.
I literally spent a week packing orders.
Yeah.
That's all I really did. I
Mhm.
would I would write for an hour in the morning while I was on my treadmill, but then after that, I couldn't justify sitting in front of my computer when there were people out there waiting for their book orders.
Right.
So,
It does help having the help on those kinds of things because I've always had Holly as my right hand man, but now we've got Allison who comes in every Monday to help with the packaging. So she basically takes over what Matthew did.
yeah.
And but she's like a super efficient Matthew. Like he he just sat there. She does all the work. But and so it's nice because it's like Holly prints the orders, organizes the papers, figures out what all the orders are, passes them all to Allison. Allison pulls the books. I sign the books. I ask them a million questions about all the things. I give them back to Allison. Allison packages them. Holly um, prints the postage. And I'm over here creating, like
Yeah.
I'm getting back to what I do, whereas they're doing all of that physical stuff that's hard on my body like yours,
Mhm.
and it breaks it up and it makes it so much easier. And you know whenever Holly's out of town and I have a bunch of orders, that's how I am. It's all me, and it's like, heck no, like, no, I don't want to do this. So
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely think you should get somebody.
We're very privileged in the fact that we can do that, because I know a lot of authors couldn't afford to do that.
Mhm.
Um, but I also think that more authors need to sell from their website, because as much as it sucks to pack orders,
Right.
it's it's like transformed my business, and I'm going to end up walking away making almost as much through my website that I am through Amazon, and that's pretty incredible.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. And this,
That's
yeah,
a good problem to have.
yeah, I mean, easily. This, I know for a fact that this past year, 2022, I made over 100,000 in paperback sales on my website and ebook sales. And I think that's a lot of money to facilitate all on my own. Like, I did this all on my own, like Amazon wasn't pushing me in an algorithm or anything like that. Like,
Yeah.
I hustled and got this done. And I feel like people are literally leaving money on the table. There's just
Mhm.
money that can be made. And I feel like people are starting to wake up to this finally, and see that other people are being successful from selling on their website. People, like me and you, we do great on our website. And I mean, there's times when, yeah, it literally rivals Amazon. It does for me too. And it's like, I like that because, now I can put more energy and effort into growing my store because I know that it
Mhm.
turns a good profit. And I mean, it's just, yeah, I feel like people that aren't doing it are definitely missing out. Now, granted, it's a lot of work,
It is
but
a
you
lot of work.
once you decide that that's an element of your business that you want to add, and you're prepared to do the work and figure out all the ins and outs of it, it is worth doing, to do that. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I just think that I want to get back more to, like, writing. I kind of miss when my when I was very first starting out, and really my only job was writing because nobody
Right.
was buying my books anyway, you know? So
Mhm.
I was just working on creating and getting more out there and not putting like so much work into all of these other things. So that's what I want to get into this next year, which I know you were asking me what didn't work last year. And I just keep asking or answering with what I want to do this year.
Well, that answers what didn't work last year too, because,
Yeah.
writing because you had to and doing all of the things, you didn't get to do what you wanted and you didn't like that. And so, I mean, it's okay for us to I was reading something about how women especially, we like to do lots of different things. So, we're not necessarily 100% happy if we're just doing this one little thing. Like,
Mhm.
if you think about it, like back when our kids were small and stuff, it was like we were doing, maybe we got on a little thing where we wanted to make cupcakes. Like I had a cupcake phase, and or maybe you had one of them Cricut machines where you're cutting vinyl and you have this little vinyl phase. And like there's always it seems like with us women there's always a phase we're going through, like we're going through our workout phase or whatever, like whatever it is. And that's because we like to do lots of different things. And I feel like we have to keep ourselves like open to that, because so that we can do those things. So for instance, like if I had my schedule just 100% ironed down and filling in every little spot with work, then I wouldn't have the time to, go do whatever with my friend Erin in the middle of the work week. And, we cooked and did fun stuff like that. And it's like I like having the space. Like I like having space to do things that I want to do or things that pop up, and I feel like with being an author sometimes we get so like married to this job, and it like sucks
Mhm.
us into a void, which it's fun and it's cool and it's pays, I'm at this point right now where I'm retiring my husband, like we're fixing to live on my income alone, because being an author has really been good for me. But at the same time, I don't want it to like totally consume my identity, and I don't want to just be the author and that's it. Like I still want to do things. I want to try new things. I want to learn new things, and I don't know, another wild tangent. It's therapy time.
It's crazy that you're turning into like this do new things and go out with friends
I
and
know,
like I feel like we have gone like
I
this,
know.
total shift because when we first met, like I was out there,
Mhm.
I was doing things.
Yeah.
And you were here, you were down here like I don't even want to see the sunshine,
Yeah. Mhm.
lock it all away.
Uh-huh.
And then slowly, like I'm in my phase where I don't want to leave my house. I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody if they are not blood related to me, you
Right?
know? And you're like, I'm going out with a friend today and I'm doing this. And I'm like, what is life right now?
I know.
How the tables have turned.
I know. And well, and it's like I think I need a little bit more than work, 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 like right now in my life.
Yeah.
And since I work from home, I mean, you work from home too, but it's like I don't know. I started feeling like my whole identity was wrapped up as Kay Webster, but like I'm
Yeah.
Christy too. Like I'm
Right.
just, there's things that, and so it's kind of like a self-discovery kind of journey of like, what am I interested in as far as like hobbies or just, other things that aren't, tied up around books and writing. And because I do need breaks. I need to just get away, and so anyway, that's something that I would like to do more of this year is do my book stuff and write and everything, but not make it my sole thing in life,
Yeah.
which is going to be an interesting challenge, especially since I'm going to be like the sole breadwinner.
Yeah.
So I have to be careful not to let my work consume me in that effort to take care of the family. I work, 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 so,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, that's
I
a lot
started,
of pressure. I
right.
can't
But
even
then,
imagine what that would feel like.
well, I'm excited about it. And, but at the same time, it's like, I don't, like, I want to keep, I want to get my husband stress free and relaxed. And so he can start healing with his body. And then I want to make it to where all of this work, all of these books that I've worked so hard on, they continue to just do their thing. And, I did the hard work. So now let's just keep the machine going. And I'm hoping that
Right.
I can actually slow down a little, I mean, and actually kind of enjoy life a little bit.
I
And
hope I can slow down a little, but also let me start up a course and
right. No, yeah, I
and
know.
have a Patreon and but
Right.
I'm gonna slow down
I know.
now.
Well,
You're a
well,
liar.
no, no. I am not starting anything new this year. I am not. I just not anything, no, nothing wild and crazy because I can't. Now,
Yeah.
everything that I have started, I'm maintaining. And now that it's all like set up and all that hard work that I did, it's all set up and now it's smooth rolling again. And that is one thing that I did do right last year was start Patreon. And I really feel like authors should definitely explore Patreon because, again, it's another area where I think people are leaving money on the table. So even if maybe a store isn't your thing right now, but maybe there's something you could do with Patreon. And I just feel like, people are using it out there and they're doing a good job. And it's been good for me because it's like I got to really connect with like my super fans, like the people who, were coming to my website and buying books every payday without fail, or like the ones that join the club. Like these are like my diehards. And so it's been really fun, like getting to know them, really like spoiling them with the things that I do for them. And at the same time, I've generated an extra stream of income that I didn't have before. And it's been a pretty awesome, stream of income. Like I'm proud that we've done this, me and Holly. And um so that's something I do. Like I want to continue to do that and kind of grow on it. I don't want it to explode because that would be really hard to manage. But right now it's growing slowly, and I like that. I like that slow organic growth of things once I set them up. It's just the setting up is so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that that will be anything that I'll go into anytime soon just because if I don't have help, I'm not starting anything new.
Right.
I can't.
Well, and
I do better when I do not have like tons of stress,
right.
I shut down. So,
Well, and that's the thing. Like I have a full-time employee and she literally handles all the back end of this stuff. So,
yeah.
I mean, the part that I enjoy is I like creating, new book covers because I do special editions and stuff. And so that's fun for me. That's not a
It's
hardship
a
for me.
creative outlet,
Right. And
yeah.
so I do all of these things, and then she makes sure all the people are in the right spots and everything's, all ready to go. So
Yeah. Someday when I'm there, then that's what that I'll do one. But I do like the idea of connecting with your diehards.
right. And we have that through social media. But social media also can get like polluted with just everybody,
Yeah.
and I feel like this is just more of like a narrowed lane of really dedicated people to this. This is what they want. They're paying to be here because they want it so much. And so it's like easier to like deliver stuff to people that are just like thirsty for it.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're out there on social media, you're throwing it out there and hoping somebody's interested. That's what it
Right.
feels like, and even in like your personal groups, like your Facebook groups, even then it's like, okay, these are my people, but you still don't know all the people, and you still don't know like if they even come into your group or even look, or
And Facebook doesn't even alert people.
right.
And
And
I feel
so
like Facebook is just such trash
yeah,
anymore.
and that's kind of, and so the the thinking of that went into this for me was that, you know, this is like my own group that I can manage easier, and I don't have to rely on any of the other platforms or social media or algorithms, or, you know, if are they showing me, are they not showing me, like these are people ready and like asking for updates and all this stuff. And I don't know, it works better. And I feel like memberships, not just in the author world, but like everywhere. I mean, you've seen the growth in memberships across the board, are just going to grow. And I don't feel like it's some odd or weird thing. Like people, they'll pay to be in a club, and I pay to be in clubs, you know? So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm the same way. Like if I like something, then I want to know more about it and be a part of
Yeah.
it. And it's easier to manage in my brain this one thing than trying to manage making TikToks and doing this and doing that and running a group. And, you know, it's like all of these other things. Like I just have to focus on this one thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Mhm.
Focus on less things.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny, it's like a lot of people I've been talking to, like not just books, but like everybody in general, all people, especially women, they're like, I just want to simplify my life this year. Like everybody I
Yeah.
talk to, they want to simplify their life. And so it just goes to show that everybody's just collecting chores and things and hard, difficult stuff to do. And it's piling up and we're done. We just want to shed it all and start fresh and, you know, be a little calmer.
Yeah, I feel like everybody does. They're like, I don't expect anything from this next year. I just need like a place of neutrality for a
Mhm.
year, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing good, nothing bad, just
Right.
let's even things out here.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that was the thing. And I also, was telling my friend Erin this week, I said, you know, after this deadline of what I'm working on and getting it all done, I don't have any more deadlines this year. And I'm leaving space open for the good things to happen that might not have been good timing because I was so jam packed full of all these things. There would have been no time for these good things to happen. So,
Right.
and I feel like once we leave that space open for ourselves, then we can be creative and we can look for different things. Like even, you know, like if you're trying to, you know, get out of debt or something, you have that time to like look into it and focus on it and, you know, whatever, or working out. Like I know that we've been doing a lot more of that, and it's like you give yourself more time and you can have the time to like dedicate to it. And I feel like we need to do more things for ourselves and not just, you know, everybody else. So,
Yeah. Working out has been amazing. I will say that people are always like their whole thing is, just give it 3 months. In 3 months, you'll be in a routine, you'll love it, the endorphins. Bullshit. At least for me, it was not a 3 month thing. I think I've been like working out a lot for 6 months now. And I don't even think I really started feeling good about it until just recently. It took a lot longer for me,
well,
but I'm finally in the place where like I enjoy it.
I know. Well, me and you, we have our watches linked together so we can see each other, and that's motivating because I'm always like, "Dang, Misty, you just burned like 800 calories doing whatever, you know, I have no idea." And then I'm over here like sitting near eating a donut or whatever. So it's like motivating, but I figured out that I had been doing all the wrong exercises and types of exercising, and I found Pilates. I always like thought Pilates was what people made fun of, like, oh, those moms doing their Pilates, you know. And I was always like, yeah, they're dumb Pilates. What is even Pilates? Well, I found this Pilates on my Apple Watch, and this dude, he was leading it, and I was like, well, he's not a mom, so he's probably got something good going on. And it was just basically like, you know, stretching and holding poses and tightening
Yeah,
muscles
using your
and
own body weight to,
yes, and it wasn't a lot of like high impact movement, which is something that's always been hard for me. I'm a big goofy giraffe, you know, like
yeah.
I need stuff that I can really just try and learn, like balance and strength. And I've really enjoyed it. Like it's been fun for me. Like I've never had working out that's fun, but I get up. It's the very first thing I do now. And I get up in the morning and I just do my little exercises and I check off my little ring and I'm all proud for the rest of the day. And I'm kind of sore and tingly and I feel happy and proud. Like I did stuff and it wasn't agony. I didn't have to force myself to work out. I just did it,
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah.
hopefully it'll stay doing that.
I'm proud of you.
Well, we'll see. But what's funny is like you and my friend Jessica and my friend Erin and my sister Holly, like we're all like on that same like wavelength. I feel like a lot of women our age or are kind of like at the same season of our lives where we're tired of burning the candle at both ends. We're tired of giving very little to ourselves and 100% to everybody else and not doing anything, self-care for ourselves. And it doesn't mean like, oh, go get massages, but like self-care, like give yourself a day to just read on the couch if you want, like just stuff that
Yeah.
makes you happy and really kind of figuring that out. And that's what I'm on a journey this year to like be, more relaxed and happier. So
Take care of yourself.
yeah. And it's nice. It's nice to, sit in there and do my nails, and listen to my podcast. It's like I don't have to be productive 100% of the day. Like I don't have to
Yeah.
fill up
And that
every.
was always a problem with you, is you
Yes.
would work from the time you woke up until the time you went to bed.
Yes.
Every single day, no days off.
Right. And what's funny is I've been taking a lot of days off, and like this past week, I was like, I'm going over to Erin's, and Holly's like, but that's a work day. And I was like, you can work from home. And she's like, but I really need to come to the office and work on stuff. And I was like, well, that's fine, but I won't be there. Oh, he's hiding back there. And I said,
Literally told them I was podcasting.
I said, you can work while you want by yourself. And so I took the day off to just have
Yeah.
fun with a friend, and it was nice, and I don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah. I feel I get that way. Like I feel like if I'm not if my husband is working, I feel like I have to be working too.
Yeah.
Even on days where I'm just not feeling it, I'm stressed out, I'm whatever. I just feel like I want to decompress. So I totally get that. Like I feel like I have to work. I'm working on like not feeling guilty about that.
Mhm.
And my husband always tells me that like I'm becoming, too fancy because I get my lashes done, I get my nails done, and I didn't understand why I was doing those things because I don't really enjoy those things. But then I just kind of realized like it gets me away from everything.
Yeah.
So even though it's not like what I would optimally like find as a fun time, it's
Yeah.
still, I realize the reason I'm doing it is not because I really care what my nails look like. It's because I'm getting away from everything.
Yeah.
And when you work from home, I feel like that's,
It's nice to escape.
yeah,
That's true.
always nice to escape.
What's funny is one of the things that me and Holly did over the holidays is we took a few Fridays off just to not work at all. And our little nerdy selves would meet up at the grocery store. We would grocery shop together. And I'm telling you what, it sounds so stupid, but me and Holly had the most fun grocery shopping together. And I mean, we just chit chatted the whole time. We cut up, we, talked and bought our groceries. And it seems so cheesy, but it's just like, it was fun,
Yeah,
And I don't know how to explain it, but, I feel like creating space for us to do that is good, like we need
yeah,
more space to just, do something like that. So
yeah. Well, we are getting to the point where we need to start wrapping things up. Let's
oh
just
yeah.
start the wrapping up process.
I know. This is like obviously a long episode because we hadn't seen each other face to face in a long time and we had a lot to catch up on.
Yeah.
But we did want to talk about our releases that we have coming up. And you have a story in the anti-Valentine anthology that comes out on Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
And the name of that book is
Mustang's Torment. It's like a prequel to my Sons of Erebus motorcycle club series that's going to be releasing this year.
And I am going to read the blurb to everybody because I read it and I was like, ooh, I need this book and I can't wait to read it. So here goes. From USA Today bestselling author Misty Walker comes an enemies to lovers gay romance set in her brand new motorcycle club series, Sons of Erebus. Is that how you said it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike Mustang Cohen has come a long way from the scrawny emo kid who was constantly bullied at the private schools he attended on scholarship. He's gained muscle, confidence, a job at an auto body shop, and he's earned a role as secretary for the Sons of Erebus MC. Now he fears no one, and all the rage festering inside of him is used to deliver the club's enemies to the Reaper himself. So when his filthy rich childhood tormentor, Jensen Poole, shows up at the garage with car problems, Mustang is quick to make him pay. Except Jensen looks good on his knees. So good that Mustang begins to crave other things from him, things he shouldn't. But when blows are delivered that would mean both men's lives were a lie, can Jensen become more than Mustang's torment? Dun, dun,
Dun,
dun!
dun, dun.
Yeah.
It's funny that you were like, oh, I read that and I wanted to read it because when I sent it to you, I was like, help, this sucks. It's terrible. Make it better.
I know. And I read it, I was
and
like,
you did nothing. You just wrote back and you were like, I love it. It's great. I'm like,
it was perfect. And it wasn't me being lazy. Like I literally read that and I was like,
oh, I knew you weren't being lazy.
I was like, I want this book. I want it. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited. And so it's going in the anthology on the 14th. And how many authors are in that? Do you know?
I don't even know. A few. And a few that I haven't ever even worked with, but I totally have read. So I was really excited about that.
And are they all kind of like enemies to lovers kind of
Yeah,
thing?
it's all enemies to lovers or why can't I think of the trope along that
Bully?
line? Yeah, bully. There we go.
Okay. Yeah.
Bully or enemies to lovers.
Cool.
So it's, I mean, I don't even know how you do enemies or bully within 20,000 words. Like that was really hard, but I think I did a okay job. And really, I was talking to Marley Valentine and I said, you know, I really suck at this enemies to lovers thing, but I'm good at like, I don't like you.
Yeah.
you know, like there's no hate, but
yeah. That's funny.
like I'm annoyed by you and then we can turn into lovers instead of enemies. But whatever. It's really good and it's like the perfect opening for the series. So I'm excited.
I'm
excited.
excited.
And it motivated me to start on the first book and now I'm like 18,000 words in. So we're going places.
You got this.
Yeah. And yours is The Tangle of Awful, which is the second book in this series, right? From USA Today bestselling author Kay Webster comes a new steamy age gap enemies to lovers. Why choose forbidden romance? Now you are good at the enemies to lovers. So, okay, sorry. I added my own commentary. He's a successful attorney with a secret craving for his too young stepdaughter. He wants her badly, but his wicked son wants her too. Love is an illusion. In my world, collecting the shiniest trophies is what I do. Beautiful wife, swanky home, expensive cars, successful firm, future attorney general. Add in the Park family name and I'm the envy of every man in town. True love, however, was never attainable, no matter how much I secretly wanted it. The desire to be loved isn't only my secret. My wife is missing. With my life under scrutiny as I run for office, I'm finding it difficult to lie away her whereabouts. Sorry. People are starting to notice my political opponent, her best friend, and worst of all, my wife's daughter, Aubrey. Aubrey's finally back home after 2 long years with her dad, but she's asking questions I don't have answers to. Yet that's not all she's doing. She's invading my thoughts and my heart, driving me insane with her beauty and vulnerability. I want her. She's barely legal and my wife's daughter. Forbidden and morally wrong. I can't have her. I can't. My son, though, doesn't live by the same code I do. He wants her too, but not to love, to destroy. I'll risk everything to keep him from her, even if this tangle of awful costs me my reputation, my campaign, and my son. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Exciting.
That's really exciting.
And we're going to put the links to those in the show notes.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to go check them out, the pre-orders, they can. So
when does yours release?
February 21st.
Oh, that's right.
So they can read the anti-Valentine anthology, and then by the time they finish that, it'll be time for the Tangle of Awful.
Yep.
And mine can be read as a standalone. It's in this world that I created, but so like if you just wanted to read it and then you'd be like, ooh, I like his brother Callum, and then you could go back to this other book. Like you don't have to read them in any kind of order. So
yeah. Yeah. And the first one was super forbidden and steamy, and I have no doubts that this one will be too.
Yay.
I'm excited. Okay. So our last bit.
On to what we're reading.
What are you reading?
Okay. So you know me, I'm not reading what I should be reading, which is probably romance genre, but I started reading this book called The Face on the Milk Carton by Caroline B. Cooney. It's an old book.
That looks good.
Yeah, so basically this girl, it's an older book. So she's at school and finds she has this milk carton. She looks at it and she recognizes the girl on the picture, and it was her. And she's like, no, I'm not missing. My parents love me and adore me. Like, what? But
Did they
then
make a movie out of this?
They might have. It's older. And so yeah, so she basically goes on this whole thing about like trying to find the truth and why she's on this milk carton, and all these secrets unravel. It was really good. It's a teen book, and I'm kind of like in a teen phase right now. So and then the other one that I just started was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. It's the perfect nail-biting mystery, and this one is basically about, again, it's in the teen genre, and it's about this girl that she's a high school senior, and she's investigating a murder that had happened like 5 years ago from two people in the town, this girl and her boyfriend. So basically the girl went missing and the boyfriend committed suicide, and she just feels like there's so many like holes, and there's just a lot that it doesn't look like it really is as they say it happened. And so she's investigating it, and it's pretty interesting. So
nice.
What about you?
Are you listening to any audiobooks?
No, I've got some credits and I just can't decide. I spent like an hour looking for something, and I was kind of thinking zombies or something apocalyptic, but I didn't settle on anything yet. So
okay, so I'm all reading Devil's Captive by Celia Aaron, which my love for Celia Aaron goes deep, and she has been gone from the book world for so long, and then finally she put out this release, and it is making me so happy. I'm almost done. It's amazing, and I'm so glad that I have her words back.
yeah, she's pretty awesome.
I might just tell her that like more than what is socially acceptable. So I'm sure she's so annoyed with me by now.
Nah, she loves it.
And I am listening to Falling in Love by your friend
Erin
Erin
Branscombe.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, she just got she is a newbie author. She has two out now?
Yeah.
And
a third on the way.
Yeah, so her first one, Falling in Love, finally made it to audio, and I felt bad that I hadn't read her debut yet. So when I saw there was an audiobook, I'm super excited.
You were like, yes, please. I really enjoyed. Yeah, I really enjoyed her book because it was like like a palate cleanser. You know, sometimes we get into these books and they're like really like dark or whatever. This was like, it was just like it had that hometown, small town feeling with all the feel goods and the quirky characters and you
Yeah.
know the emotions, and it just felt good for your heart. Like I was like smiling the whole time, and I didn't know I needed that book until after I read it, and I was like, I needed that book.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
It's
it was
super cute.
yeah, and it's very like, it was fall themed, so it was very like festive, and you could just kind of, you felt like you were there with the, you know, the leaves and the pumpkins, and it's just, you know, it just was a nice, it was a nice book.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm almost done with it. That was my take on it too. It's really cute. It's like
Yeah,
the perfect book to listen to in between like more emotional or dark or
right. It just
whatever.
gives you, yeah, it kind of gives you a little, I don't know, makes you feel good. And then, you know, sometimes, and that's why, you know, that's why we read, like I read teen sometimes and I read
Hmm.
self-help sometimes, because I can't read the same kind of books all the time, because after a while they're heavy or, you know, they feel the same. So it's kind of nice to do something different.
Yeah. Well, we did it.
We did it.
Now, can we keep a schedule?
I hope so. I feel like we can. I feel like we can get back to, you know, getting on here at the very least monthly, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully back on our regular schedule. But if we can't, then once a month's still
Even
good.
if no one listens, it's still fun to catch up with
No,
you.
I know, I know, I know. And that's
Now
what
that
I
we've
was
been
missing too,
busy.
is like during those 4 months, not only were we busy and we weren't talking through social media, but we were missing our podcast too. Literally, I had no idea what was going on with you. I feel like your kids turned into women while I was gone, you know, like like everything changed, you know?
I know. One of them literally did turn into a woman. I don't know what happened. It's
Right,
like
right.
over Christmas break.
Yeah. You're like, okay. Yeah. So it's like, well, this can't happen anymore. We have to stay like up to
I
date. And I
know.
know that our listeners will be happy because, you know, I had a couple of people like, are you guys going to get back on your podcast? And I'm like, yes, we will. Even my sister was like, are you ever going to do your podcast? And I was like, yes, we will. We're just taking a break. We're on a break.
Yeah, our producer's been asking that too. So
Okay. So he's probably happy.
exactly.
All right.
All right. Well, we will be back soon.
Yes.
And thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, comment. If you have anything that you want us to cover, leave it down in the comments. We will for sure cover it.
Yep.
We are here to talk about anything and anything you want.
Yep.
Yep. All right. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.